We first learned about James Durbin from American Idol, and then Quiet Riot, and then The Beast Awakens. But it is time for him to make a clean break from all of that with his new band, Cleanbreak. And we'll find out all about it right here on this edition of Chris Akin Presents. It is Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Akin, and today I will be presenting a guy who I am an absolute fan of. He can't seem to figure out what his career is, it seems like. It seems like every time I talk to him, it's about a different project, but he's got a great new project right now called Cleanbreak. The band is Cleanbreak. The new release is called Coming Home. It is out on July the 8th, and joining me to talk about Coming Home and Cleanbreak and everything else in the world of James Durbin is the mighty Durbin himself, James Durbin. James, how are you, man?
I'm great. Yay. Excellent.
It's good to talk to you, man. As you know, as I was telling you before, man, last time we did this, man, it was a lot of fun, and this is fun on a different reason. This is a different project for you. And it's a different sounding project for you. So, you know, obviously you're working with a group of very established guys this time, where you're somehow more or less the rookie in the group. But talk a little bit about this band, man. How did this come together, and how did you get involved with Cleanbreak?
When I first signed with Frontiers Records in December of 2019, the original plan was for me to do a solo album, which ended up becoming Durbin, The Beast Awakens. And then after that, not as soon after as I anticipated, but after that would be putting together a group effort with different folks from Frontiers and beyond, which we ended up with, fortunately, with Mike Flint's. And so, yeah, like I said, 2020 was all me writing and recording Durbin, The Beast Awakens, and doing that all remotely with the different people I had, Mike Vanderheel on drums and Barry Sparks on bass, and then all the guitarists I employed to play solos throughout the record. And then, of course, you know, releasing that still in a pandemic country was difficult, because like I would have loved to have done some sort of touring around it. But, you know, I always say never, and never say never, because on Friday, August 26th in San Francisco, California, USA, will be the live debut of Durbin. Nice. Very, very excited. Yeah, at Bottom of the Hill, we're playing Friday, August 26th with Enough's Enough and Nerd Halen. So very much looking forward to that. But yeah, after the Durbin record came out, a couple months after, I got approached again by Frontiers and to start discussing our band effort. And pretty much right off the bat, Robert Sweet and Perry Richardson were both on board. And so it was just kind of up to all of us to put our heads together via email and brainstorm different guitarists. And at one point, Mike Flint's came up, and he just, it's a no-brainer. You know, it's definitely a no-brainer. I mean, just the record that we are here with is very special.
Sure. And you know, interestingly, you know, I mean, Flint's is great. I as a Riot guy, Flint's is fantastic. But it's interesting that you also brought in the back end from Stryper to, you know, to power this thing. So, you know, did you bring them in, or was that a Serafino thing, or how did they get involved?
Well, Stryper is on Frontiers also, so it's, I'm really not sure. I just know that they were, I remember I'd gotten an email from Mario, maybe, Mario Doriso, being like, we do you want Perry and Robert, basically? Do you want them? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I think I was like, hell yeah, I want Perry and Robert. And I was like, oh, no, wait, they're from Stryper. I want Perry and Robert. Hallelujah. Bring it. but yeah, it's I'm super just stoked with the overall, you know, the end all that we have here with this album. It's just, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, if you're given the opportunity to grab a drummer and a bass player that played together previously, or any band members that played together previously, is always like, oh, that's good, because they have a bond there. They have a connection already musically, you know, and personally, which connects musically. I remember my first band lineup after Idol was Jeff Fab and Blake Bunzel, and they had both played in This Moment, and had both left In This Moment and then joined my band. And then coming up in Durbin, my bass player and guitarist have been playing together recently, which is fun. You know, it's great that they already have that, you know, connection there.
Man. Well, James, obviously, man, you've 3 records in a row with 3 different projects, you know. I personally thought, especially with Beast Awakens, you really kind of established yourself in that world of that whole mystical Dio-esque thing, and you really kind of established yourself away from the, I'll call it classic metal, or whatever Quiet Riot falls into. You know, you kind of pulled yourself away from that, and you really did establish yourself with Beast Awakens in that Dio-esque dragons and demons metal sound. You know, now this one is not necessarily, it fits kind of both places, you know, interestingly, I think fans of the Dio-ish type stuff will like this. I think fans that found you with Quiet Riot will like this. I think fans that found you in American Idol will like this. For you, do you worry at all by doing different styles that you're going to end up becoming not known for one style, I guess?
I'm okay with that. Okay. I've already accepted that fact. I've already accepted that years ago. I mean, I was just talking about this in my previous interview, actually all of them at some point, I think, is that, and these are, you know, this is not usually something I've heard be brought up by the interviewer. I usually bring this up about myself, which is funny that you mentioned it. I love it. You know, my first record coming off of American Idol was, you know, it was In the Machine. And then the second record after that, like the first one was like a pop rock, alternative rock, kind of leaning as far active rock that I could with it. And then the second record was like, it was like, let's just throw that shit out the window, according to the record label at the time. And they're like, hey, how about a pop record, you know? And I was like, that last one sold 200,000 copies in its first week. You want to completely like clean slate this thing? I was like, oh, all right. How much is it? You know, how much is the record advance? Well, they're like, you get this amount, and if you write 90% of it, you get this amount. I was like, all right, how about 60% of it? So I wrote 60% of it, and I got a buttload of money. So, you know, it's also looking at, this is a music business too, you know, in that sense. And then after that, I went independent, and I got to like put together like a compilation of some songs that I'd written with other people, and then tried my hand at just writing the songs 100% me, and did that independently and learned from that. And that was Riot on Sunset, and that's different. That's more with like a classic rock idea leaning metal, and some songs like City of Nightmares are beautiful. And then after that, you know, I joined Quiet Riot, and then, you know, the Road Rage album was all the music in the case of both Quiet Riot albums, all the music was written and then given to me, and then I had to like write within that. So it's like there's only so many places you can go. It's like, can we change the guitar tone? Nope, everything's is what it is. Okay, all right, cool. That's a challenge, and you know, accepted the challenge and wrote the best that I could in those circumstances. And then, you know, but like that's just like I'm tasked with that. You know, here we're doing this, you're doing that. So, and then coming out of that, like, even in the midst of that, was like, I've got these songs I've been writing. They're like road songs. They're different. And that ended up being my like Americana singer-songwriter album, Homeland, which is like heavy, and I wrote the whole thing while on the road with Quiet Riot, and like it's super emotional and really pushed me as a songwriter, and produced it, wrote it, engineered it, mixed it, mastered it, did all the album design and the artwork and the and everything. And then the next, you know, we did a Quiet Riot live album one night in Milan. That was cool. And then on the heels of my departure with Hollywood Cowboys, and then getting the email from Frontiers of like, we don't want to lose you. We want to keep working with you, and we believe that you have something that we want.
Sure.
You know, it's like, we believe that you possess the key to the Southern Veil. And it's like that belief in me, and then having done like some albums that contain none of my identity, and then also one that's like acoustic,
right?
You know, Americana is like, who am I? What do I want? What do I want to do? And I was just listening to some demos that I had written around that time where they're like, they sound like Motley Crue. They sound like early Motley Crue. They sound like Too Fast for Love. But it's like, that's not necessarily me either.
Right.
You know? So it was like figuring it out as a songwriter, and then the pandemic hit, and then I had nobody to co-write with. And so I just took my Lore guitar here, plugged it into my VHT amp, and wrote something. And then I took it to my computer, and I took it into Logic, and I fleshed it out, and I wrote the title track, what would become the title track to The Beast Awakens. And I was like, oh, I just wrote this. This song kicks ass. I love this song. This song's awesome. I got my buddy John to play a guitar solo on it. The first person I sent it to was Rob Halford, and he was like, "Yep, you're onto something. Keep it up." And then I sent it to the label, and they were like, "Yeah, this is the sound that we want from you." And then, you know, took the, you know, couple months to write and record the rest, and then now doing Cleanbreak is like, it's just like, I love playing music. I play in all different kinds of bands, and play with different bands, and sit in with different bands, with country or yacht rock or hair metal or 90s pop, or like a hair metal band playing 90s pop. Whatever, like I just love music, you know, and if it's something that I gel with, I've accepted it, that I'd rather love, like, and have just like I don't know, I want to be a working musician and support myself and support my family, and whatever that means for, you know, recording and whatever types of music, it's all music. So it's all a win. It's all a win, or an opportunity to gain wisdom.
And the unique thing today, unlike in the past, is that in the past, you couldn't do that. In the past, people would look at you and say, "Oh, you know, you don't have any direction." But in today's world, it's great that you can do the different things, especially where the bulk of, maybe not the bulk, but where a large portion of the money to be made could be made from movie soundtracks and whatnot. To have a diversity like this, you can, and especially with your background with American Idol, you can literally sell a metal song and a pop song to the same movie or the same TV series or the same Netflix thing or whatever, if you wanted to, because they need that kind of diversity now.
Right, of course, that too. I mean, I look at it too with my fans, and I know that if I'm this conflicted with my music, and like, I'll write a song and I'll be like, oh gosh, I really wanted to write a metal song today, but I just wrote like a backyard, like, reggae-ish country chorus or something, you know, like, I'm just like, oh, damn it. But it's great, and I'll keep it saved on my phone, and maybe one day it'll go, you know, it'll do something, but, or give it to someone. But yeah, I know my fans like all different kinds of things, as do I, and I don't know, somebody out there somewhere is going to be affected by it, even if it's one person or 100,000 people. It's still, you know, once you write a song and once you put it out, it's no longer yours. It means whatever it means to whoever it means whatever it means
No,
to them.
I write books, and it's the same type of a deal. You know, I write books hoping to sell the one that I buy, and then, you know, if anybody else ever emails me, it's like, oh my God, you said this and it made me think that. You know, doesn't even matter if that's what I meant.
Right.
It's like, that's the coolest feeling in the entire world when you actually move somebody with something that you did.
Yeah, that's success.
Mm-hmm.
That's what success is.
Exactly.
You know, not monetary success, but like actual emotional,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you know, physical success in that way.
Exactly. Well, James, you worked with one of my personal friends and everybody on the planet's favorite writer, apparently, Alessandro Del Vecchio. Talk about what he brought to the table for Cleanbreak.
Alessandro is not human. He is a machine. Yeah. He is a machine. A songwriting machine, a producing machine, a musical machine,
right.
Just a melodic machine, precision, fine-tuned, well-built, Italian-made machine, and well-oiled. He is well-oiled. I got the chance to. My first time meeting Alessandro was actually my only time meeting Alessandro as the kids say, IRL. Right. Was in Milan for the Frontiers Rock Festival when I was there with Quiet Riot, and Alessandro joined us for Thunderbird, which was the first time that Thunderbird had ever been performed live with the piano intro. Which was just it's humbling to say, sure. Like the history of that song, like, and all that. It's very cool. Looking back on that, and was just a joy to work with then, and then to know that, oh wait, that's the Alessandro that does everything,
right?
Why isn't he producing our record? What? And then getting, fast forward and getting the chance to work with him, and very briefly. On mastering for the Beast Awakens album. And then I was like, dude, I hope we get to work together. Just like in the email chain there. And then when I got reached back out to from the label about putting together what would become Cleanbreak. Right. They were like, yeah, Alessandro's really looking forward to working with you. Like, yeah, I want to sing some Alessandro songs, and I can't wait to hear what this album sounds like. I knew that, I just wanted to hear his sonic synchronicity and how he hears things, and get a peek into his mind in that way. And that's what you get when listening to this album, of how it sounds, the tones, the production style, the mix, and yeah, all of it. It's phenomenal. Man.
Well, I'll tell you what, James, let's take a little break, but before we do, why don't we offer people a taste of the song Coming Home, which is the first video that you offered from the album Cleanbreak, or from Coming Home. That's the, kind of the title track. So give us a little intro on this, what went into writing this song, and why it was chosen as the first single to share.
I don't know what went into writing it, because I didn't write it, but it's, as you'll hear, it checks all the boxes. This is kind of like, we all felt that this was a great introduction to Cleanbreak. And the first time you're going to hear Cleanbreak, what do you want to hear? Something that's approachable. It is approachable. It's a mid-tempo, if you will, at parts. The chorus is, could be dropped to halftime and be a ballad, but it's, I don't know, it hits. It hits hard, and everybody's talent and what everybody stands for is fully on display.
Right on. Well, let's check it out right now. This is Coming Home. It is Cleanbreak right here on Chris Akin Presents.
I wandered in this desperate land. I had to chase deep down in me. My heart was wounded and couldn't mend. It was too dark to see, time for me to leave. No more strangers
are back here on Chris Aiken Presents with James Durbin talking about the new album Coming Home from the band Cleanbreak. And James, obviously, man, the last 2 years have been tough for everybody. You know, the pandemic is, you know, forget music, just changed everybody's lives forever. And I think it made life especially tough for most musicians. Yet, I would say for you, and I'm outsider looking in, so you can tell me I'm full of shit if that is indeed the case, but it seemed like you really took that as a challenge to really push yourself to stay in touch with your fans. You did so many, you know, little acoustic things from your house and Q&As and different things. And a lot of guys tried a lot of different things, but it really seemed like you took it as your mission to stay in touch with your fan base. So is that indeed what you were trying to do during that time? And how did that work out now that it's kind of ending?
Yeah, that's definitely something I really put a real strong focus on, and was like, oh boy, this is what I do for a living. I got to find a way to continue to do this and make a living. And, you know, luckily everybody early on, all my fans had also, you know, gotten their unemployment and their stimulus checks. They weren't shy about sharing it. But that's funny. Very humbly and gratefully said. Yeah, I don't know, the way things lined up, it was really crazy. It really was crazy, you know, stepping away from QR, and then, you know, just knowing that I wanted to make a record and get back to what I am, or figure out what I am, or see what I want to, you know, do. And then Frontiers calls, and then sign a deal, and then start working on a record, and then pandemic hits, and then forced to work on that record by myself, and then thrive on working on that record by myself, and then doing Friday Night Lives, which I did on Facebook Live, and every Friday I'd do a different theme, and would do like a top tipper prize. People would tip, and it'd be randomly chosen through the PayPal and Venmo tip, virtual tip jars. And just, you know, doing all that literally every Friday, and picking winners, and doing like outreach videos and that sort of thing. And then one of my buddies from Idol, Paul McDonald, he was doing a like a socially distanced backyard tour. And he'd go play private shows in people's yards, you know, or on their patios or whatever. So, yeah, he sent me the email that he used to send to people, and I was like, dude, sweet. And I just changed stuff, and changed the price, and changed the destinations, and how far I'd go, and booked a string of those in California and Oregon. Yeah, did that. Fortunately, had some great voiceover gigs come in, you know, along with the Durbin record, and then backyard shows, and like a backyard wedding, and then like a bunch of stuff. And my wife and I bought a house. We bought a house in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, it's crazy. And like, out of that year and the, you know, 5 years before it, almost, not 5 or 3 maybe, the 2020 was the most financially successful year. So like, yeah, it was like the most stable. Like, I had the most stability in the middle of a pandemic, and it was just very strange. Like, I had to do something, you know. I have a wife and 2 kids, now 3. You know, there's no quitting. No quitting. That's not an option. But there's more hustle in me than there is quit, even when the hustle is depleted. There's still, you know, I will get there. I've gotten there where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm done. I'll like haul furniture. I don't care. Just give me something to just not have to worry about doing music and having to figure out how to make money off of this thing that I once enjoyed.
Sure.
You know? And so now it's like I figured out a way to like enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Don't let it stress you out so much. It's really simple.
Right.
You know, it's I play music, I sing, I open my mouth and speak melodically. And some people think I do it good. So like, I'm like, cool. All right. Hell yeah. I get to keep doing this. Yeah. Of course I'm happy. I'll put a smile on my face. Like, I could complain about all sorts of things, and occasionally I will, but then I'll be like, but it could be so much worse. And I'm so happy that I'm so stressed about being so busy. like it's like, I'm busier now than I've ever been. And and I tell myself that, and I remind myself that. And I keep putting that out into the universe, that, you know, I'm and not just busy with concerts and recording and rehearsals and it goes with that and shows and but also like dedicating time to my family, dedicating time to my wife and all three of our kids individually, giving them love and giving them attention. And now we have a puppy also, and so it's like giving the puppy attention. And oh my God. We've got a 13-year-old, a 7.5-year-old, a 1-year-old, and now a 13-week-old puppy. And we flushed a fish down the toilet this morning. So, you know, there's like the success ratio there is it's good. It's just one fish down the toilet, and that's okay. We kept him alive for 2+ years. That's good.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, James, you know, having that time off, you know, now it's time to get back to the street, man. You know, I mean, you know that, and. Is that going to be easy, or is that going to be a very... Did you get like so many people got, where you got a little comfortable being at home?
I mean, I'm a homebody as it is. And so I don't know. I feel like I found ways to make it work for me. I'm still, like I said, I'm busier than I've ever been, and I'm not touring the world. You know, I'm not even touring the country. And I still don't have a weekend that's not booked. And, you know, and they're all paid gigs. So it's you know, and I've got this thing I'm doing with Peloton, all through the week, and music related, and designing levels for this game that they have called Cleanbreak, Cleanbreak. And it's just kind of, I wrote an intentions list, that my wife had me write, and I have it taped to my computer, and I look at it all the time, and it has all the things that I want to intend into the universe that will happen for me, not to me, for me. These things will happen for me, and have, I mean, I could read it right now. I, James, will intend to have financially successful tours with an easygoing band. I play with a bunch of different bands and all sorts of things, and a lot of private stuff. And Durbin, Durbin we have our first live Durbin show coming up August 26th in San Francisco with Enough's Enough and Nerd Halen at Bottom of the Hill. And the very first time, like, I spoke that out. I was visiting my aunt's house with my kids, and we saw a bald eagle fly over the pool and get scared off by a crow, which was awesome. And then I go in the house and I just like have this urge to say out loud and to speak and to intend, I want to play a Durbin show. And like a week later, I got an email that was like, hey, I want you to play a Durbin show. So, and then now we have it. You know, that. The other one is have multiple concerts booked each month. And every weekend is filled. I just did 3 shows in a row, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And again, like, I had a random weekend off this coming weekend, just picked up another gig. So it's like, constantly working, constantly doing stuff. The other one's opportunities coming at me. Since I wrote that, I've been on Access TV's Top 10 Revealed. I'm a bunch. I'm going back down there in late July to film I think my 4th season with them. I was featured on their 100th episode. Like, I'm always getting asked back to do this, and it's like, it's because I intended it. And that's how I look at it. That's how I choose to believe it. If I'm looking at something and that's what I'm putting out there, and that's what I'm intending to, you know, to happen. And then the last one is in parentheses, too much, and then fulfilling and financially satisfying work and stability. And all of those things have happened. And so I constantly remind myself that, like, I'm not the type of person, I don't have cable. I watch the things that I watch on streaming services or YouTube, but I don't seek news. I focus on the things in my life that that matter to my life and that fulfill my life, and to give, you know, fulfillment to the things that I do, and the things that, you know, come from it. And yeah, there's none of that shit like has anything to do with my day-to-day life. And the fact that it's there is like, yeah, I could turn it on. I could.
Right.
I don't. Because I just get sucked into it and just be like, oh, fuck all this, fuck all that, this everything's shit, we're all gonna die. Yeah, we're all gonna die. And everything might be shit if you look at it, if you just look at all the shit. If you look at all the shit, yeah, it's a fucking shit show. Absolutely. But if you look at good in your life and the goodness that you have and the positivity that you have and like things that you're grateful for, like you will live just a fulfilled life, a fulfilled human experience, because that's what we get. That's what we get. And you have the choice to make it great or make it. And I've been put in situations where I've had to be like, you know, surrounded by people that are like, oh, like you get put in like a show, you know, you get cast in a show or something, and like a theater show or being in a band or like anything where you're just like, oh, this isn't what I thought it'd be or what I hoped it'd be. But I also learned to not set any expectations for anything. I don't set any expectation for anything. Because if I had like a good interview earlier and I set like, oh, I want this better be as good as I expect it to be, you know, it's different than just being like, I've got another interview. I'm stoked. I'm grateful that I get to talk to another person about my life and my music and my philosophies and all that. It's like, hell yeah, I'm stoked. This is awesome. Oh, wow, this is so humbling.
You're literally living my playbook. I tell myself every single day, just do for today. Just do the absolute best today, because, you know, there's no guarantee of tomorrow.
Be your best you.
There's just no guarantee of tomorrow. And literally, you know, and without getting into turning this from you to me, but, you know, I spent so many years being angry and pissed off and not getting anything done. Last 10 years, I changed all that, and I've written 6 books and built 2 businesses and a 3rd business on the way and a television station and everything else. It's like once you get rid of the negativity and you just focus on the positive, then positive, you know, it's weird because I don't know that I believe in the whole cosmic thing, but I certainly understand it. I certainly understand that I made a change in my definition and good things came. So maybe there is truth to it. I don't know. You seem to be more deep into it than me.
I don't know what the truth is, but I just follow the I follow the wizard to the top of the mountain. You know, I just try and in that Dio sort of mythos, and I find sanctuary in that, and choose to, you know, live in the magic of my everyday surroundings rather than just like, oh, there's, you know, just I don't walk by it. When I walk out my door and I see the trees and I see the fruit trees and I see we have like caterpillars now on our anise plants, and like I see that, I look at it, I stop. I'm not, you know, I have to kill a spider every once in a while because my wife's afraid of them, but you know, like I look at things differently. You know, and I like that. It's a good practice. It's a good practice to not take anything for granted, even the smallest things. You know, because we get to experience that. I love knowing that, and the things that I enjoy that are of our time currently. It's not lost on me that like I get to be alive at the same time that all this stuff is happening. That's pretty cool. I don't have to, you know, my entertainment isn't going to like the Coliseum and watching Christians get fed to lions. Like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, this is nice and positive. I can just put on wrestling or like, you know, watch cartoons with my kids, or like just what I was watching some like 1995 footage of Sammy Hagar with Van Halen playing in Toronto earlier. I was like, nah, this is what I did. And then I watched videos of like Behemoth and like Ghost of their singers like talking about like Satanism, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I'm like a Christian boy, and I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. I like learning things. All right, oh, that's cool. Oh, Fallen Angel. Oh, that's how that connected, and that's why that album was written. And like, I just like connecting puzzle pieces in life, and it's just kind of like, oh, cool, you know, and just being like, like I was listening to some random thing, some random political thing for no reason, and was just listening to it and just like, all right, that's not for me. Okay, cool. If it ever is, it's out there. All right, cool, done. Yep, going back to whatever. Let's watch old Vines or something.
Nice, man. No, well, what people need to be watching is new Cleanbreak, man. That's for sure. They need to be checking out these videos, and they need to.
Oh yeah, we made a thing. We should talk about it.
Go ahead.
I should talk about it. It's been a long day. My brain is scattered. But yeah, Cleanbreak, the debut record, Coming Home, comes out July 8th. The single's already out. You just heard Coming Home and saw the video, and I think we're gonna leave you with the song that is that the band name is taken from, which is a song I wrote. And it was just kind of like you know, exiting one thing and kind of looking at different starting over points in my life and in other people's lives that inspired it, and looking at the similarities between them and kind of like bringing them all together and putting it into one, you know, canonical situation, a canonical conundrum, if you will. And I think that it turned out into a pretty badass song. I was actually just listening to the demos of it, and the coolest thing for me with going from demo mode, I like that, going from demo mode to, you know, masters, is that little things that I did and that I wrote in my demo for like the guitar solo placeholder, Mike Flint's took those and like used them. He didn't just be like, all right, let's just take that little, like, you know, placeholder solo and just let's throw that shit away. He like listened to it and was like, played off of it and added those parts into his solo. And I'm just like, oh, what? That's so cool. You know, the first time I heard it, I'm sitting right here with these headphones right here, just like, oh my God. Oh my God. That's so cool. That's so cool. The first time hearing the solo. And yeah, it's really something. I'm blown away by, I'm always blown away. Again, it goes back to not setting expectations. I'm blown away that, you know, it's getting the reception that it's gotten so far. It's just it's humbling. I love playing music. I've made a lot of different kind of records, but I'm getting the most satisfaction from making metal records, you know, all over the genre sphere of metal. You know, Durbin, The Beast Awakens, kind of like traditional heavy metal or new wave of British heavy metal, and theatrical and melodic, and with some modern, you know, kind of embellishments on it. And then now with Cleanbreak, the band, and the song, it's a little more on the modern side, more melodic, a little bit of traditional sprinkled throughout. But that also gets really confusing. I find a new subgenre of metal that someone says that that's what it is, and I'm supposed to believe it. But I just listen to it, and it's heavy metal. It's heavy metal. I hear what I hear when I listen to Judas Priest. It's different because it's not Judas Priest, and it's different because it's not Sad Wings of Destiny or Defenders of the Faith or Rock-a-Rolla. You know, it's like they're all these different things at their different moments, and if you listen to each one separately, you're like, yeah, that doesn't sound like that. Oh, that's the same band? Oh, cool. And you accept it. You know, I'm the same guy. I create all the same things, and there is a interweaving thread going through everything that if, you know, I played Homeland songs in a metal style, or if I played Cleanbreak songs in a Americana style, they would all, it's music is music. You know, it all tells one canonical story. It's all in Durbin canon.
Well, let's share some of that Durbin canon right now. This is the song Cleanbreak from the band Cleanbreak from the album Coming Home, out on July 8th. And James, thanks so much for joining me here on Chris Akin Presents.
Thank you, Chris Akin.
Awesome.
Every day, every night, biding my tongue, biding my time. stoked in the flame, fighting with fire, dragging me down instead of taking me home. Love myself, all I can bleed, never enough, never exceed. Another ghost in a gauntlet, and that's the way that you want it. Why stay and waste away? It's all a losing game. I sold my soul for a slap in the face.
Budget Pet Care is the leading online supplier of pet healthcare products that provide branded healthcare products throughout the United States. They provide quality brand name pet supplies for flea and tick treatments, dewormers, nutritional supplements, eye, ear, and joint care treatments for all cats and dogs, including Frontline Plus, Advantage, K9 Advantix, Capstar, and more. Go to https://bit.ly/CMSPNBPC and use the promo code GREEN20 to save 20% on your next order. Shop Budget Pet Care today.